Hi again, I hope you guys are doing really good. Today I thought we would do another dupe video. Today I've got the Alter Ego Sahara palette, which I have used in a video, and we're comparing it to the Natasha Denona Biba palette. This is the neutral palette. It is not inexpensive, but the Sahara one is. So, figured we would do a little video where we compare the high end to the more economical. The shadows are not laid out exactly the same. And with the white background versus the black background, it can kind of trick your eye a little bit. So I'm gonna do the best I can. I thought we would do is what we've done in the past, which is we do high end on one eye using the same brushes. We clean them off, switch over, and do low end on the other eye. And let's just see if we can't get the same look from both palettes. Then we can decide, is it worth it to buy the more expensive version because we wanna have what everybody else has, or because we actually do, you know, have the funds and appreciate the finer things, and we actually do need a neutral palette, or do you want the more economical versions that you have for groceries, gas, or things that cost a lot of money these days? I feel like I've done a number of looks recently with this kind of like mid-row, because I think this is the closest row to the mini Biba palette. So then I'm choiced with this kind of cool toned row, or the more of the like the yellow row. I feel like you've got like a yellow row, orange row, and a gray row. It's kind of how I would break it down. So I think I want, because this is such a neutral palette and I feel like, you know, we all use neutral eyeshadows, I might do the cool tone row, the gray row, just because that's not something I would normally do. Let's scooch in. If you guys are new here, just keep in mind that I am not a professional makeup artist. I am a lady of a certain age, so you're gonna see all the wrinkles and crinkles and all that kind of stuff, and that's just the way it is. I bought these with my own money, so I'm not getting paid to do these. Nobody sent them to me in PR or anything like that. I'm gonna start with this gray here. Might as well do the Natasha side on my ring finger side. I did use a little of the Thank Me Later eyeshadow primer. I picked this up on Amazon. It was one of those, you know, had tens of thousands of reviews on it. The one thing about it, and I think it does work well as an eyelid primer, I don't feel like it's too drying. I don't feel, but I don't know how it would be on like super oily lids. My skin tends to be a little bit more, especially this time of year, a little bit more on the dry, crepey side. But the one thing about this is it doesn't really have any opacity to it. So it's not like it's gonna minimize, you know, any kind of discoloration you might have on your lid. So we're going into the gray. I did clean off the brush. We're going into the gray on the Alter Ego side. This one is called Clay, and on the Natasha side it's called Sculpture. And in my experience in the past, there are two brands that I think really stick out, three brands that really stick out of doing good dupes. One of them is going to be Alter Ego, subject for this video. The other one's going to be C-Color Cosmetics, and I also think W7 does a pretty good job of duping palettes. The majority of the W7 palettes for me that I've had have been dupes of like the Urban Decay Naked palettes, which aren't really always my first choice in palettes. They're just too sheer. There's been a couple Urban Decay Naked palettes and I'm like, okay, I can use that. But oftentimes if they just look too sheer on me, then I lose interest. Alter Ego does a very good dupe. They're a little bit more expensive than C-Color, so I guess keep that in mind. All right, we're going into, you know what, I'm gonna use this bone color just above up here because I do have that discoloration. It was kind of coming through as a little pink, so kind of neutralize that a little bit. Yeah, that worked out well. Okay, cleaning off the brush. Yeah, I think they did a pretty good job of keeping the shades in the same row for me, so I appreciate that, even if they're not in the right order. Now, I'm still trying to see if I'm noticing like a huge difference in between the two. I'm gonna go back into the gray on the Alter Ego, and up just a little bit more, and cleaning off the brush. Just trying to get the opacity to match, and hopefully with that, the color. I feel like the Natasha side is a little bit more pigmented. I would expect. I think the Alter Ego is made in the PRC, if I recall. Let me look. Yeah, so the Alter Ego palette is made in the PRC, whereas the Natasha one, I'm pretty sure is made in Italy. Let me double check. Yeah, made in Italy. So we've got one made in Italy, one made in the PRC. Let me go back into the bone shade called Sand, Alter Ego side. I feel like the sand on the Alter Ego side is a little bit more of a yellow vanilla. Like this one seems to lead a little cooler. That one's a little warmer. We're gonna take this brown here, almost, I would call it like a cocoa bean. What is it called? Seed. And I'm just taking that down a little bit further. I'm just radiate this all the way down here. Boy, that is really pretty. And my application, you guys, I just want you to know, if you don't already, I tried to take in mind my close set hooded eyelids. That is kind of usually a driving force between about how or where I put on eyeshadow. And I usually do kind of a similar look every single time. but as far as like, you know, the lights to the darks, just using different colors. This time, we're not doing that. Okay, cleaning off the brush. So that one was called Seed. This one, this brown on the Alter Ego side, is called Raven. Did I read that wrong? Oh, it says Raven. Very pigmented, feeling a little rougher, a little harder to blend in than the Natasha side. Picked up a little bit more slate. But again, I feel like it's a little bit more patchy. You guys seeing that? It's hard because you want to compare the formulas, but you really can't. Of an economical formula made in the PRC with a Natasha Denona anything made in Italy. So I think right now we just need to keep on track with comparing the colors. Cleaning up the brush, switching back over to the Natasha side. I don't really want these to be such a hard line. Okay, as far as shade ranges go, I feel like we're not really seeing true dupes on the shade. Am I wrong? I'm getting a similar vibe. That's a good thing. Okay, I'm gonna take a much smaller brush, and on the Natasha side, I'm gonna use this dark charcoal here called Tar. I would have thought this would have been a darker shade than it actually is. I expected more of kind of a charcoal gray, and instead I'm getting more of like a slate gray. Formula's fantastic though. Okay, cleaning out the brush, and we're gonna go into, oh, this one is called Slate. We're gonna go to Slate on the Alter Ego side. This one's definitely a lot more powdery. I'm having to pick up quite a bit to get it to be the opacity that I would expect. Okay, we're getting there though. Yeah, I think all in all, again, I'm distracted by the opacity, because this is paler, and I have I don't know if you guys can see, but I have so much transfer down here, whereas I have none on the Natasha side. I'm gonna try to dust that off. I was hoping to get these sort of gradiated, smoky grays and browns together, and I think I got it. I may have miscalculated whether or not I like the idea of doing the same shades on this row here. Going back into Slate on the Alter Ego side, build that up a little bit more. It seems a little bit more muddy, and again, product quality as far as color goes. Color, this one seems a little bit more blue-gray. This one is not. Now, we've got one more shade in here. I'm gonna grab a little bit more of a pencil brush here. I'm gonna go into, this one's called Spot, Natasha side. And I'll put a little bit out here. If I just look at this one alone, now I'm like, why don't I ever wear my eyeshadow like that? Maybe I should. Should I, you know what? I'm gonna do a little bit of crease too, because we'll go full on drama, right? I'm thinking I should wear my eyeshadow like this more. Okay, let's try the Alter Ego side. We're gonna grab that same black, and here this one's called Mesa, and start with it out here. Not as pigmented, more of a softer black. Let's try to bring a crease a little bit too. All right, and I did get the transfer down below again. Trying to clean it up a little bit, and I smeared it all under here. This one just doesn't even have any transfer down below. Okay, I guess I need to grab one of the grays again, huh? Let me grab, on the Alter Ego side, I'm just gonna go in with Slate. Boy, I'm wondering if this would have the purpose of softening it up. Ooh, and I got it in my contact. Okay, part of the issue with Kit Kat is that it then gets in your contacts. Ooh, really wanna take my contact out and blow it out? We're not going to. We're gonna pick up Tar on the Natasha side and just kind of smudge out that bottom here. So much better. I'm trying to figure out how I can make them look more even here. Clean out this brush. Let's just buff this a little bit and see. This one, I feel like I can see the individual colors a little bit more, and I think it's dramatic, beautiful. This one feels a little bit more like a muddy mess. Okay, going back into Mesa on the Alter Ego side. Can't repair the damage here. My eye's watering because of the kick up. That's about as close as I'm gonna get it. Let's put some mascara on and I'll be right back. I think if you're just looking at me from a distance, you're not gonna really be able to tell that they're not exact matches. It just looks like this one's a little bit more subdued and buffed out, even though I didn't try to do that. This one feels a little bit more intentional, like smoky, exotic, intentional. It's just a better quality. Sometimes you get dupe brands that actually can dupe the quality pretty well. I don't think this one was a good example of that. I think it's almost impossible to dupe this because the quality on this is so good. This black right here is so creamy and beautiful and perfect, and this really does feel like what you see is what you get. Yeah, those colors are so pretty. I'm gonna grab the lighter gray too, just so you can see all three of them together. Those are so pretty. Those are the, you know, the predominant colors. The brown you end up losing because it was in the crease a little bit here. Let me clean off my fingers and we'll just swatch the Alter Ego Sahara ones right next to it just for fun. Okay, so we're gonna put the Alter Ego up above it. It does feel silky. I don't know if I'm saying that the right way. Okay, let's go into the mid-tone gray here. I look like I have a little bit of dregs of something. This one was probably the biggest disappointment because it's so much of a, like I'm really kind of trying to dig into it and it's not the same shade at all. One swipe of the Natasha and I've gone in several times and I just can't get the Alter Ego to build up. So that wasn't me just on my eyelids. This is, you know, in real life as well. And then let's grab the lighter one, which feels very creamy. And that looks like a pretty good match. That one feels pretty good. Okay, some hits, some misses. Exact dupes? Nope, I wouldn't say so. Do I feel like I got a similar look on with each palette? Yes. Would I take this one in lieu of the other one, like if I were traveling? Maybe. And just know that I'm not going to get the same saturation, not going to get the same experience. But is this a neutral palette that I can use for a variety of situations? Sure. Are there shades in here I can use for work? Mm-hmm. Are there shades that I can use to smoke out and do something more exotic for date night? Sure. Yeah. You know, if you're asking the question of can a palette be used for a variety of situations and does that make it a good value? Yeah. When I swatch a couple of these shimmers right here, like I just did this kind of bronzy color and then this one right here, which reads a little pale in the camera, but it's actually more of a coppery color. Swatch those, they feel great. The quality feels really good. So I guess that the takeaway is if this is a color story you need in your collection and you're on a budget, then the Alter Ego one is perfectly respectable. I think you can absolutely get probably what you're looking for with it. But if you find yourself facing a pretty good sale, maybe a holiday sale or something else, and you see Biba come up, or maybe it's part of a kit, sometimes she'll do bundles of palettes, there you get a lot more quantity of product. I like the packaging better. I mean, you get what you pay for. You're getting a good quality product and the right size. But it's expensive, so don't spend your money on this unless you really need it. Unless you think, don't buy this just to have it. Buy it because, hey, that's gonna be my go-to staple. Maybe not this look, is maybe not your go-to staple unless you're a little on the goth side. Nothing wrong with that, don't come after me. But I think you can get a similar vibe with a much more economical one. I don't know if that helps you guys or not. Sometimes it's fun just to compare the two side by side. I almost want to take this off and do a second look, should I? All right, guys, back mostly cleaned up. Couldn't leave well enough alone, and I frankly wasn't gonna wear the dark grays and blacks for the rest of the day, so I might as well. I mean, it was a beautiful nighttime, exotic, kind of smoky, sexy look, nude lips and drama. But let's actually do a look that I would wear for the rest of the day. So I'm gonna do, you know what, I'm gonna use we're gonna call it the Yellow Euro. I'm gonna pick up the mid-tone nude in here called Freckle. And I do have the same primer on, same eyelid primer. Thank me later. And I probably didn't get quite enough time to dry down the eyeshadow that I'll have on for the rest of the day, right? Okay, cleaning off the brush. And we're going into the Freckle match on the Alter Ego side, which appears to be camel. It's appropriate. I think that I consider that a camel color. Now, if I really wanted to do a good job, use an opaque so we can really see the color, how the colors perform. Okay. Cleaning that off, I feel like I got a little darker on the Alter Ego side, so we're going to build it up a little bit on the Natasha side. Both shades seem to be about the same. Like this shade seems like they're, now see, I just went overboard with the Natasha side. Try to buff that out a little bit on the Natasha side. Picked up a little bit more product than I intended to in trying to build it up to match the Alter Ego side. I don't know if you guys like these types of dupe videos where we're comparing and contrasting. Okay, cleaning off the brush, going back to Alter Ego side. It's fascinating to me to see how they perform next to each other and whether or not they do perform well next to each other. Okay, I'm gonna grab the matte brown in the middle of the palette, which is in the center of the top row, called Cocoa. And Cocoa is gonna be a little bit here on the outside, just a little bit up into the crease. We're gonna take Canyon on the Alter Ego side. Hopefully I'm getting these up high enough so you can see it on the camera. Sometimes when I've zoomed in, I forget to hold them up high enough. Not a professional YouTuber. Again, this formula feels a little drier, a little bit more scritchy. Just noting it as I experience it, what comes to mind, what I'm thinking about. A little bit more patchy too on the Alter Ego side, but building up a little bit took care of it. So I think if you have just a little bit of extra time to do that, you're gonna be in fine shape. Cleaning off that brush a little bit and kind of buffing in. Yeah, Looks very similar. Okay, we're gonna take, when I swatched this, I became in love with it. I'm taking the copper color on the Natasha side. Kind of more of a bronzy, I guess. Yeah, that's really pretty. Okay, cleaning off my finger, and I'm gonna dip into the bronze on the Alter Ego. Yeah, they do shimmers very beautifully. I think the Alter Ego shimmers are better than their matte. Quality-wise, color-wise, it's pretty close. Yeah, I feel it's pretty close. Okay, now let's go into the lightest shade in this row right here. Oh my gosh, it just feels like butter. This one's called Shine. Pretty. Okay, and then we'll take Mirage. That one seems like it's a little bit more of a sparkly metallic. Like almost like a super finely milled glitter. So we're gonna build a little bit on the Natasha side. A little bit more muted on the Natasha side, not as crisp, but I think I got them pretty similar. Okay, you know what? I feel like I need a little eyeliner. Okay, I got a little, who did this? BH Cosmetics, I think, the Doja Cat eyeliner. I shouldn't use the same eyeliner on both eyes. Yeah, okay, let's get some mascara on. Okay, we're back. I think this is a much better color match than our first go around. Let me grab a little clean, fluffy brush here. Clean it up here a little bit. Okay, the number one thing that I've noticed is that the transfer, the fallout, I've got glitter all the way down here from that lightest shade that I used, which means I'm going to be a little sparkly all day today. This one, not so much. I probably just smeared it on here. Maybe a little bit, but I can't tell if that actually came from this eye and it transferred over there or what. The colors themselves, yeah, when I look at the colors, I don't see a ton of difference. Just a little tiny bit with that lightest shade that I used on the inside. My eyeliner's not matching. Ignore that part. But I think this is actually really pretty with the pressed glitter. That might be the shade that this one down here that I think is the most special in this palette. I actually think it's really pretty. This one, it was effortless, this side. You're getting what you pay for, okay? I can't say anything negative about the Biba palette. It's literally one of my favorite Natasha palettes. It's a no-brainer. And so I knew I was gonna like the mini palette too, because it's a no-brainer. The Alter Ego Sahara palette, it's a great palette. Did it give me a similar look? I think I did better with this one than I did with the first look. Maybe you aren't a gray toned wearer. I think if this is a shade that interests you a lot, then just expect that it's not going to be as opaque. There's a beautiful burgundy right here in the middle. That's a little on the sheer side. I would have expected that to be a little bit darker and richer. So maybe, there's a little slight variations. Maybe you have to build something up a little bit more to get the final look. I think if you're going to use the Alter Ego, maybe do your eyeshadow first and then do your face makeup underneath. Or do your face makeup separate, just because the cleanup is real. I'm going to be a little sparkly the rest of the day, but it's fine because maybe I'll come back and do a date night when I go out with my husband later on. That's it for the dupe video this time around. I hope that was interesting for you guys. I do have a bunch of dupe videos that I've done over the last, I don't know, however many months, handful of months or so. So feel free to check my video history if you guys want to see, other dupe videos, high-end dupes, comparing it to lower-end dupes. I've got more. I think I have a ABH dupe that I want to do next time I do a dupe video. I don't know what's going to come up before or after. They're not time specific. You guys, these are not new palettes, right? Like, you either have one or you're interested in one or you ran across one and you want to know. If you see one of these at like a discount store, like a Burlington or Ross, at TJ Maxx, Marshall's, one type of thing. You wanted to see if it was similar? Sure. If you wanted to see what it was a dupe of, Natasha Denona Biba, that would be your inspired by. As long as you guys are cool with the inspired by, it's nothing about it saying that it is trying to be Biba. It's not saying that it is Biba or that it's the same colors, not even laid out exactly in the same way. Just, I don't know if plagiarism is a form of flattery or just insulting, but there you go. That's it for today's video. I hope you guys are doing really well. And until my next video, bye for now.